It's definitely not the best time for people who love Wendy Williams because her guardian Sabrina Morsi recently revealed that Wendy is now cognitively impaired and permanently incapacitated. But what exactly does that mean for Wendy? Is it over for her? And can we really trust anything her sketchy guardian has said? Okay, I know that a lot of us were pretty hopeful with this Wendy situation, especially since Wendy was last seen in August 2024 during a shopping trip at a holistic wellness store in New Jersey, and the attendant said she appeared okay. Then in early October, she participated in a phone interview with the Daily Mail where she discussed other celebrities including Diddy, but refrained from discussing her health issues in depth. But she did say in the phone interview about Diddy, "What is really weird is that I have been told by so many people, Wendy, you called it, including some people from my family who have said the same. You know how I feel about that. It's about time to see this video on TV of Cassie getting pummeled. It was just horrific. But now you have to think how many more times, how many more people, how many more women. It's just so horrible." Now after the August sighting and talking about Diddy, her fans had hoped that this was a sign that Wendy was actually getting better, cause before this, there was absolutely nothing out there about how she was doing. Well, now, news reaching everyone is that Wendy has become cognitively impaired, permanently disabled, and legally incapacitated. This information is now public courtesy of a court filing by her guardian, Sabrina, and in the documents, the legal team described Wendy as an acclaimed entertainer who tragically suffers from an early-onset dementia, leaving her cognitively impaired. So the court filing is actually part of a broader legal dispute between Sabrina Morsi and the production of the documentary titled "Where is Wendy Williams?", which aired on Lifetime, offering a glimpse into Wendy's struggles with alcohol and her personal life. Remember, Sabrina sued back in February to stop the doc from coming out, but it was ultimately released on Lifetime, and it highlighted Wendy's struggles with alcohol, including a scene where she downed an entire bottle of vodka. One of her loved ones was even filmed finding a bottle of vodka amongst her things, and asked, "Did you drink this whole thing today?" And Wendy snapped back and instructed him to keep the bottle there while recovering in bed. In another scene from the documentary, Wendy got aggressive in the backseat of a car as she instructed the driver to go. Then as she drove around her hometown of New York City, she admitted that she was unaware of her surroundings, and said that the things around there didn't look familiar. One family member even theorized that she may be losing her memory, and another person said that anyone could look at her and tell it was not just drinking, there was something more going on. Well, Sabrina basically confirmed that there's so much more going on with Wendy's health, so she is now taking legal action to remove certain sensitive information, requesting that details regarding Wendy's health, family relationships, and finances be redacted to protect her privacy. She alleges that Wendy Williams was unjustly taken advantage of by the documentary, as she was clearly incapable of consenting to being filmed, much less humiliated and exploited. The filing also alleges whereas Wendy Williams was filmed without a valid contract and released without the guardian's consent. She also says in the filing, "We respectfully request that the court grant plaintiff's motion for limited redactions to protect non-public information from the guardianship proceeding that has been placed under seal by the court overseeing that process." Well, in a counterclaim for Lifetime, attorneys also hit out at Wendy's guardian for trying to stop the documentary, and they claimed she was inhibiting and interfering with the exercise of free speech rights regarding an issue of public concern. By Lifetime, they claimed that Wendy's guardian wanted to stop the documentary from airing, which they said captured a raw, honest, and unfiltered window into the life of Wendy, a well-known public figure after she was placed under guardianship. According to the claim, the documentary showed how the guardianship put in place to guard Wendy's interests instead isolated her from her family, left her largely alone and unattended in her apartment, exacerbated her self-destructive behavior and mental decline, and failed to prevent her use of alcohol. They further argued that Wendy's guardian wanted to stop the documentary's release because it made her look bad. Lifetime also alleged that Wendy's own family members also saw the documentary before it aired in early February 2024, and that they approved its content and supported its release. And they noted that several members of Wendy's family gave press interviews to promote the documentary. Note that Sabrina had also sued Entertainment One. And in their counterclaim, they said that Wendy's guardian's case against them arises from her attempt to exceed the scope of her judicial authority over Wendy, attempt to excuse her own failure to protect Wendy and supplant Wendy's wishes with her own. The claim also accused Sabrina Morsi of denying Wendy perhaps one of her last chances to exercise her autonomy and honestly reach her fans in exactly the frank and unfiltered manner that was the hallmark of her career, all in an effort to prioritize her own reputation and deflect scrutiny of her own inaction and indifference to Wendy's situation. Basically, they are also saying that Sabrina is only fighting for her own reputation and not for Wendy's sake anyway. Back to Wendy's health. During this back and forth with Lifetime and Entertainment One is when Sabrina revealed that Wendy's condition is worsening and that she is now cognitively impaired and permanently incapacitated. And as far as how we even got to this point, y'all know that Wendy was diagnosed with alcohol-related brain damage in 2019, and she even made herself a hot topic in 2019, when she opened up about her struggles after an extended break from her talk show. And she announced on her daytime series that she'd been staying in a sober house for some time in an effort to crack down on her struggles with addiction. You know, Kevin and I have the Hunter Foundation for the Good of the People, and we recently launched our 8885 Hunter number for those of you caught up in the struggle of addiction. Well, for some time now, and even today and beyond, I have been living in a sober house. When you see me come to work glammed up right after the show, I go across the street. I do my Pilates. I told you 2 hours a day. I like to take care of my body, and you know I've had a struggle with in my past, and I never went to a place to get the treatment. I don't know how, except God was sitting on my shoulder and I just stopped. But there are people in your family, it might be you, who've been struggling, and I wanted to know more of the story, so this is my autobiographical story and I'm living it and I'm telling you this. Unfortunately, she relapsed in 2022. And Wendy checked into an undisclosed rehab facility again for treatment, and she spent 2 months in rehab being treated for severe alcoholism after having a number of public incidents involving alcohol. Apparently she never wanted to stop drinking, and the people around her in New York allowed her to do just that. And after staying at the facility for 2 months, she said that she felt better than ever. This diagnosis followed a neurologist's assessment during her rehab in Florida, where the effects of alcohol on her brain were confirmed. Remember, Wendy was also placed under guardianship in 2022 after her bank Wells Fargo raised concerns about undue influence and financial exploitation. Well, she did say that she did not understand why they were taking her money. When she said, "My thing is that I've been asking questions about my money, and when I began asking questions about my money, suddenly Lori Schiller has got no response regarding my money. I want my money. This is not fair, and Wells Fargo has no questions and answers with regarding my money. This is not fair." So up until this point, people were hopeful that Wendy would make a recovery, and there were even talks about her starting a podcast. But the next time Wendy was back in the headlines, there were reports that she spent a night out and she drank her way from Fresco by Scott in New York City all the way to the gay bar The Townhouse. According to Rob Shooter, who spoke to Page Six, Wendy looked lonely sitting by herself, but then lit up like a Christmas tree when she saw someone she knew. He also discussed their run-in in an episode of his podcast, saying Wendy invited everyone over to her table, saying Wendy said, "Come and join me." I said, "I'm with my friends, I'm not leaving them." And Wendy was like, "No, everybody." We had a bite, we had some drinks, but then when we were getting ready to say goodbye, Wendy didn't really want us to leave. In addition, Wendy was also supposed to make a comeback in May 2023 at the Atlanta Women's Expo, but at the time there were reports that she had been rushed to a hospital twice and also had to cancel the appearance. Wendy had even done a promo video, but the Expo team told Wendy's team that the video was unusable and pushed back on it, saying that Wendy seemed completely disoriented. According to a close source, the Expo team also rejected the video because they believed that a video of Wendy claiming to still be married to her ex Kevin could really upset people, especially the Women's Expo audience, who were all about women's empowerment. Well, as if that wasn't enough, sometime in February 2024, her medical team released a statement on her FTD and aphasia diagnosis, saying over the past few years, questions have been raised at times about Wendy's ability to process information, and many have speculated about Wendy's candidity.